So Kwame Brown blames Michael Jordan and Doug Collins to fail to win when he was in Washington. And what do I think about that? Some people would laugh. You know what? Before I was enlightened and really thought about it, I probably may have laughed. I remember Stephen A. Smith, a lot of people were saying that Kwame was a bust and all that. But then the guy played 13 years. So how much of a bust could he have been? He was traded for Paul Gasol, which you could have said was a lopsided trade, but guess what? He played. He got a pension. He has a real life career. He was set up to fail. Why? Because Michael Jordan's delusion, and see, this is the problem I have with Jordan's stannaries. When he went to Washington, I really think he wanted to stick it to Jerry Reinsdorf from Washington and Jerry Krause, and I understand that. But his ego was so massaged that he wanted to be a part owner and all that, and he got played by Abe Poland. Oh yeah, Abe Poland played him when they had the strike in '99. Gave him a token because he knew he could sell tickets, but he knew Washington wasn't gonna win nothing. But his ego got fed to come out there, and then when he got fired and let go by Washington, he had to drive off and catch the major L. No one ever talks about it. And as for him, when he played those last 2 years, he was decent. He had some good runs, but let's keep it 100. He said himself, the mind and the body were at two different intervals. He was not the same player. That's why when these people go excited about how LeBron James is playing at 40 because he's putting up stats, his teams don't win. It doesn't really make a difference. When you're 40 years old playing on a team, now much respect to Barry Bonds, but even Barry Bonds at 40 plus, who was still hitting a lot of home runs and playing at a great level, they still had to have pitching. They still had to have other parts in place. They weren't winning. 40-year-old ain't going to carry you to win. It can be great, but how great can he be? Can he be prime peak great? I don't think so, but he can put up numbers. It depends on what you're looking for. But anyway, Doug Collins was used as a puppet. Jordan wanted to turn it into Little North Carolina, and it made them a laughing stock. That's what a lot of people fail to realize. They weren't a threat. You know, he didn't utilize Richard Hamilton enough. Richard Hamilton goes to Detroit. You see what happens. Turns to a better player. He clowns Tyronn Lue. Tyronn Lue now is a really good coach. But in Jordan play, you know, he was trying to bring these little pieces like he was going to teach somebody. But the thing about it is this. Man, you're 39, 40 years old. And like Shaq said it best, 39 ain't 29. You can't just go anywhere and just turn it on without having the right pieces. It didn't work with bringing in Jerry Stackhouse. And Jerry Stackhouse says you don't want to play with your heroes or who you look up to because it ain't the way it looks. And it didn't turn out good. It had moments. Yes, he had some moments. But to sit up here, to most people, his heyday was in Chicago and he pushed off Byron Russell and won that last second shot. Let's keep it 100. Anything else after that, you know you're milking it. He did not look like a great player in Washington. He had moments. He was slightly better than average. I say pretty good some nights. Some tights it was definitely like Father Time kicked him in his behind. He could play at a level, but not at a level that he was accustomed to. And see, that's the thing. That was the thing. You know. You want a cat, because you do. I looked at Michael Jordan in DC kind of like I looked at Michael Jackson when Invincible came out. Yeah, you had some moments and you had some cuts that you bop your head to, but this sure ain't the off the wall through dangerous era. It had parts of the history parts. There were parts you liked, but it definitely wasn't peak and prime. And this is the thing. It wasn't peak and prime. And you're going to always be held accountable because if you're a name brand in that title, it's championship or bust. Well, his was more of a bust. And they did impede Kwame Brown because they was trying to put people to do something that takes time. Jordan didn't have a lot of time. He's there for a couple years. He didn't have a lot of time. Kwame Brown had 13 years. So you're going to tell a cat, give up 2 years, 11 years, you can make up for it. This guy's trying to, whatever he's trying to do. Now, I'm not faulting him for wanting to show that he could still play, but we knew with common sense how it was going to end. And it don't end well when you keep coming back and then you're trying to come back in a different capacity, especially when you got to figure out a new system and the whole, it's just not you. It is not you. So he was there for the reasons that were not the right. Jordan was greedy, and it showed. And Kwame Brown was right, because Doug Collins had no business. He was just standing there being patsy because he was happy to have a job because he didn't want to be doing NBA announcing anymore. And they did impede that man's career. Don't be up here playing Kwame Brown like he's Bronny James. Don't be up here playing him off like he Adam Morrison. I can tell you some real busters or Kobe Carl. I can name you some real busters. If you play more than 5 years in the NBA and you're getting that pension, you made it. You belong. So don't hear people dissing Joe Smith and don't diss Kwame Brown because he wasn't busted. He was in the circumstances where he couldn't win. It's true. Just because you play with someone great doesn't mean they're going to be working with you in the same toolage. If Jordan hit him like he did Pippen, you need about 4 or 5 years. Remember when Pippen came in 87 and it took him 4 years to break through with Pip, but he needed that with Kwame. It doesn't happen overnight. Yes, the East was kind of open, but you're going to sit here and act like that you had something of the equivalent of Allen Iverson in Philly, that you had the equivalent of something like Vince Carter in Toronto, that you had something like the equivalent to what Jason Kidd did with the Nets, Jason Kidd with the Nets, or something with Pierce and Antoine in Boston, that you had something of that nature? No, you did not. No, you did not. Or Ray Allen, Big Dog, and them in Milwaukee. No, you did not. You did not have, or Reggie Miller and them in Indiana. You did not have that kind of team. You were just another team. You just happened to be one of the greatest players ever and known and marketed, but you were just another face in the place. You were not. So this was a self-serving situation, and that's how I felt about that whole Washington experience. So I agree with Kwame Brown. I got no problem with what he said because I didn't. It was set up to fail. Doug Collins was out of his orbit, and he was doing it for reasons because he was giddy up to whatever Jordan wanted. Jordan had a lap dog, and he used him and he pimped him. Please like, subscribe, welcome thoughts, comments, and I do respond. Thank you. Wash your hands, keep your mind clear. Watch out for another shit. If you like, stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free. I'm out one time. Peace.